Selena Gomez canceled for being a bad chola? Paulie back here on the Latino Slant. What's happening, everybody? Hope you're well. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. This is a good one. It's always interesting when the Latino community speaks out, disagrees, and explodes from the inside. And that's what's happening here with this story. So, Selena Gomez was a guest star recently on Saturday Night Live. And one skit, her and comedian Melissa Villaseñor did a skit. Kind of like in the vein of Wayne's World, only this time they weren't two nerdy white kids from the Midwest in their basement. They were two cholas from Pico Rivera, which is East LA adjacent, right next to Whittier. So when I saw people complaining about it on both sides from all different stripes, these are Latinos, we're all not a monolith, everyone's got different opinions, I was like, this is very interesting. I even brought it up on one of our live shows. However, there's now some articles on this. Not too happy with the skit. Let's read. We go to Twitter, and filmmaker Kenneth Castillo, he says, was going to do a countdown on this. The Latinx blogger offended by stereotypes has become such a cliche, but check out the article, make up your own mind. So let's do that. The article is from Latino Rebels, and they say here on their post, if the only time you see hashtag Latinas on screen, we're reduced down to some white-centric stereotype. It's a problem. Okay, it's not the only time that we are seen on screen as far as Latinas, and white-centric stereotype, I have no idea what you're talking about. I honestly don't. It does our community dirty, and most egregiously for SNL, it's not even funny. Well, that is definitely an opinion. But let's go to their article. Okay, we open it up. And let's just say right now, what's funny for one person isn't funny for the other. That's what comedy is. And for me, if it offends me and if it upsets me and it's comedy and it's satire, it's done its job. Personally, I thought the video was all right. The skit was okay. To me, the jokes were a little outdated. I've seen Latino skits like this from the 90s, which were funnier, but I did laugh. On to the next. Selena Gomez chola skit on SNL wasn't funny or accurate. Opinion. And this is by Christina Escobar. She writes from San Francisco. Okay. Which is nowhere near close, vicinity-wise, to Pico Rivera, two different planets. If there's one thing cholas are great at, it's eyeliner. I'm talking next level symmetrical drawing on your eye here. But I was a bit confused when Selena Gomez's Saturday Night Live chola, Sophia, complains of her eyeliner poking her in the eye in the first few lines of the skit in a peek at Pico. There's no way cholas poke other people with their eyeliner. They don't get poked. Okay, so I don't know if you're trying to be funny. To me, that's a funny line, right? There's no way cholas get poked by the O-liner. They do the poking. That's funny. Christina, I don't know if you are, but that's a good joke. But I don't think you're here you go. You're already setting yourself up for failure, Christina, if you're going that route, because this is a dumb skit. That's the whole point, is that she's not good with her eyeliner. And the jokes didn't get better from there. After the eyeliner bit, the skit proceeded to eke out laughs of Gomez and Melissa Villaseñor as Vanessa's foul East LA County accents. As someone with family from there, I get it. We all do the accents sometimes, usually for jokes, but occasionally with it slipping into how we pronounce words. There's something funny about it. No, there's a lot funny about that. We're very sensitive about accents, absolutely. but there's humor in that. If you cannot poke fun at yourself, especially yourself being a stereotype, then you're taking things too seriously. And when we put on that accent, that's sad, what's up, that's fun. But people do talk like that. In fact, I would have loved if they threw in some A's. Right, And that the idea was largely colored by Gomez's and Villaseñor's cholas being exceptionally stupid. Their vocabulary doesn't get much better beyond sad. They don't understand the basics of their public access hosting gig. They don't know what a library is, and that just makes no sense. To me, it was a great play on words. They had a lot of fun with the actual language of what they were talking about. So, again, Christine, I don't agree, but it's a skit, man. It's satire. It's comedy. I mean, who do the SNL writers think goes to libraries? Public services are for everyone. And the LA County has won awards for its inclusive outreach. Cholas are not dumb blondes. They're not even the stereotype. That's not even the stereotype. I don't know about you, but I've met some dumb cholos and dumb cholas. I've met some dumb, educated Latinos that don't know shit about being streetwise smart. So I don't know what this argument. This is that may be thought of as angry, promiscuous, or even violent, but not dumb and not bad at eyeliner. So you're going back to like they can't be dumb, they can't do bad makeup. Those things that perhaps Anglo folks think about all Mexicans, that we're all dumb, clumsy, and interchangeable, which is why it's so frustrating to see Gomez, the first Latina SNL cast member, yuck it up in this particular skit. So that is what your problem is what you think of white people will think of us in this skit. Who gives a fuck what anyone thinks about these stereotypes when you're just being fun? If they find it funny, cool. If they think it's true, that's on them. Now, the article asks, who is this for? Well, not only could it be for the entire Latino community, and really understanding that community as far as stereotypes, making fun of ourselves, which is so needed and necessary every day, and who that audience is. Because that audience, I'm sorry, just does not embrace the X. But let's carry on. Who was it for? I've seen lots of posts on the socials about Latinx people defending it. And I get it. It's cool to see your hometown get a shout out on the national stage. Especially when you're from where you're from is typically erased. And it's fun to see your teenage styles revisited, particularly when they don't exactly make the covers of the grocery store glossies. Plus, it starred two Latinas and appears to have been led by Latinx writers. Well, it was at least co-written by Villaseñor, and Selena Gomez signed off to do the skit. But the mere acknowledgement of that our communities exist should not be enough to make us happy. Respect is just the minimum, and this skit didn't even clear that bar. It doesn't need to clear the bar of respect. This is not a documentary. This is not a class where there is a lesson to be had in Chicano history. This is comedy, whether it's bad or not. I'm going to keep saying it. That's its purpose. The only bar it needs to meet is, did you laugh? If you didn't laugh, then it wasn't funny. Move on. Acknowledgement of our communities, that they exist. Of course they exist. Why, again, do we need what you call a white stage, or I don't know what you call it, for us to validate our communities? That's not SNL's job. That's not any entertainment's job. Now, I think what you're talking about are certain social and political policies where you feel that criteria must be met. And that's not entertainment. The story goes on to say the folks behind SNL know better. We've had a renaissance of LA County Chicano TV lately, reclaiming the chola type. And this story goes on to use two examples from shows that have been canceled. Why were they canceled? Because they only fit a narrow niche market. And I have documented this before on the channel. You can't just fit a narrow niche market. You have to, your sights have to be set on a bigger level. In Vida, Chelsea Rendon's Mari rocks blue lipstick and thick eyeliner and is a fierce advocate for her community. So you're just into the community politics. You want that character. Just, she's only a character who sees the threat of, not only she's the only character who sees the threat of gentrification for what it is and appears able to do anything substantive to stop it. Unidentified Annie Gonzalez's ex-chola Lydia is literally a professor at Stanford, all in caps. Let me tell you one thing. Because of its big platform, more people know about Chicana comedy, whatever you want to call it, two cholas being silly and stupid, as other skits show other people being silly and stupid from different backgrounds. I feel you're really missing the point here. But this article goes back. Cholas just aren't dumb. They are, or can be, hilarious. But you have to not only know and respect the community, but also be willing to package it for its members to really find something interesting or funny to say about. No, you don't need to do any of that. You actually don't need to do any of that. You don't need to respect the culture. In fact, in your comedy, I want you to disrespect and make fun of yourself. Instead, SNL's Pique Pico skit offered up Gomez and Villaseñor, Sofia and Vanessa as strange creatures to gawk at, which wouldn't be a big deal if Chicanas, cholas or not, were regularly portrayed in media. Well, they are portrayed in the media. Chicanas, cholas, Mexican Americans, Latinas. In fact, they're all over television right now. They're all over streaming right now. The Lead in Undone. Promised Land, which was just canceled. Lincoln Lawyer, which is a #1 hit for Netflix. Selena, the television show. I got a list. I'm sure you do as well. But maybe those weren't met to your standards there. But again, this is fascinating that this is coming from one comedic skit that was kind of funny at best for me. I know a lot of people thought it was hilarious. Look, I'm rooting for both Gomez and Villaseñor, so the writer says this at the end. When you're rooting for someone, say it first, and say it loud. Celebrate. I might not like what they had to say, but listen, first I want you guys to know I love Selena Gomez, I love Melissa Villaseñor and what they're trying to do. This is a big moment. I might not agree with the comedy, but that is secondary. But your politics. This is an opinion piece. I'm glad you said it's an opinion piece because in your opinion, your politics should be in this comedy sketch. Okay. It's tough to be one of the rare Latinas on screen in Hollywood, and don't expect any one person to be able to represent us all. All right, let's take Selena Gomez. She executive produced and starred in Only Murders in the Building. Awards, winning, all over the place. She's put other Latinos to work in that television show. She's now producing another venture with Tanya Saracho, who created Vida, which you mentioned in this article, on a quinceañera version of 16 Candles. More Latinos to work. Tanya Saracho just got greenlit for another show about two Latinas going to London, finding love. What more do you want? It is happening. We are becoming less and less rare. And let's not even mention all the Latina superheroes that are coming out in Marvel and DC. And Latinos. But if the only time you see us, we're reduced down to some white-centric stereotype, which you never really define what is a white-centric stereotype. I would love that. It's a problem. And it's not the only time. I already just mentioned several hits right now. Not to mention other cancellations. Not to mention Latino stand-ups, Latina stand-ups, Ada Rodriguez, all on big platforms. But if the only time you see us, we're reduced down to some white-centric stereotype, it's a problem. It does our community dirty, and most egregiously for Saturday Night Live, it's not even funny. If you don't think it's funny, that's fine. If it doesn't meet your politics, I don't know what to tell you. Write your own comedy. Write your own TV shows. In fact, some of them were written and they just didn't find an audience. What is the next show? Now, again, for this skit, if anything, it's caused quite a discussion. Selena Gomez is gonna be Selena and be creating new projects, which I fully support and appreciate. Whether I like them or not, that's one thing. Oh, but here on the Latino Slant, if we don't like it, I will give you my honest criticisms why, but I will give you my dollars to elevate you to that next level. All right, that's all we have here at the Slant. You guys take care. What do you guys think? What do you think of all this? I'll have a link to the video, and there'll be a link to this article as well, but I want your comments. Wherever you're at, keep your fight and keep your slant. Fuerza. Gracias.